Good morning, welcome to Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket 701, Train Station Fitness Show, George DiGianni, and my guest in the studio, Dr. Jeremy Webster. I brought you in today because there was an article that my COO sent me and said, hey, did you know about this, and what can we do about it to let people know that we are, we have all the contents in our supplements that are shown on the label. And for everyone who takes a supplement, the billions of dollars a year spent on supplements and the research, wouldn't it be nice to know that what you're taking actually works?
It'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Be nice. How do you know if it's working? You know, we've seen, it's almost like years ago where they say have butter, have margarine, have butter, and it made people just crazy because they didn't know which one to have. Well, if you've done enough research, you know margarine is fake, it's horrible for you, never have margarine. And it's the same thing with multivitamins. We'll see studies come out saying multivitamins don't work. Then we'll see that multivitamins can be dangerous. Then we'll see multivitamins are good for you. And it's all in how they performed the study.
Right.
But what is not taken into account is what is in, what type, let's go with this. The company name, then what it claims is in the supplement, and then what we believe it's supposed to do for us.
Right, and there's too many blanket statements out there too. Multivitamins are good, multivitamins are bad.
Right.
What does that even mean? Are all multivitamins exactly the same? Obviously not.
Right.
So how can you...
Well, it's obvious
make such
to
blanket
us.
statements?
It's obvious to us,
Right.
but it's really not obvious for this show. So what I decided to do instead of us just talking at you today is to take calls. If you have supplements and you're in your kitchen or wherever the supplements are, you have them in your car with you, and you're about to walk into the gym and you want to know more about whether the supplement is beneficial or damaging, if it's a reputable company or one that we know we might not be sure of, and you want to look into it a little further. Is there a way, and you may not know this, for people who have a supplement, if we can't answer their question today, to look on the company's website for the assay report, and if so, would they know what they're looking at?
Probably not. I've usually had to call my companies to verify things like that, and they'll usually give me what I want, but it's not. They're not going to just make it public on their.
But if they
site
give you what you
usually,
want, do you know what you're reading?
Well,
Not you.
Me versus
Not
yeah.
you.
Well, it depends what they give you.
Okay. All right, so let's do that. Coming up next, let me give you the phone number. It's 888-787-1310, 888-787-1310. You can call from anywhere in the world because I know people are listening in Finland and Japan and England, all over the world. If you're listening to this show today, you take a supplement and you want it to benefit you in some way. Optimal health, better sleep, more energy, fat loss. Do you know if the company that provides the information is ethical? Do they subscribe to voluntary testing, which costs, I believe, a lot of money, to prove what they claim is on the label and in their supplement? Are you wasting your money or are you gaining benefit? Let's talk more about that with Dr. Webster coming up next. It's 704 Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket.
One, like I said, you may have a gallbladder issue, which means your gallbladder's not working right as soon as you expose it to fat. But that's not necessarily the case. Most of the time, it's because the oil itself is rancid.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that. If the oil is rancid, you'll burp it up. But you know what I was going to ask you? Gallbladder or rancid oil, do you burp it up at this within the same time frame? Is there one that'll give you a response to let you know if it's gallbladder or rancid oil?
No, I don't know. I don't know about that. If you get a quality oil, though, something that's GMP certified that you know for sure that it's not rancid,
right, and
you're still burping it up, then it becomes a digestive disorder. And it could be something other than just a gallbladder, but that's the first thing I always think of because it's the most likely thing.
There are so many people who believe that if they have more, like earlier I mentioned how a supplement can have either 9% or 140% of what's listed on the ingredients. And there are many people who believe, well, if it has more, it's better.
Mm-hmm. Well,
talk about that.
No, you don't necessarily want more. Like in the case of vitamin D, if you were going for 1,000 and you end up with 1,400, there really wouldn't be anything wrong with that. Because like I said, this will put it in perspective. When you go out in the sun, if you have your shirt, a shirt off, a bathing top, if you're a female, and you're getting pretty much full body exposure for about 20 or 30 minutes, guess how many international units you're absorbing just from the sun in a 20?
No clue.
20,000.
Oh, wow.
So that's what you get just by getting good sun exposure. So these people that worry like 1,000, that's so much. You know, the USRDA is only 400. Well, no, that's stupid. That'd be like sticking your arm outside the window real fast would be 400.
How's that look again?
Like this? Like this?
It's not surprising that they found a lot of products that were not meeting label claims, says John Atwater, director of the verification program at the non-for-profit USP, one of the several groups that offered volunteering testing programs and approval seals. Supplement makers pay to participate in those programs. So what I want to know, two things, is the testing that the manufacturer pays for to volunteer to pay for these testings to prove what they have in their supplements is true. Is it expensive, do you know?
I don't know how expensive, but it is straight off their bottom line. So I don't know exactly how much it costs. I'm not a supplement manufacturer.
I'm asking because if it's expensive, that might be a deterrent for some people. Or if it's not expensive and the people are not partaking in this voluntary testing, the way I look at it is from a trust issue, what do they have to hide?
Well, I think it's all just down to dollars and cents, period. I mean, if you have to pay a separate organization, not your own internal organization to run a test on your product, but somebody else to come in and test every batch or every pallet, then it's going to cost money, and that's going to go straight against your bottom line of what the product costs. Now, what people need to understand about this is not the standard within the industry. This is not the standard. The standard is there is no standard.
Right. FDA is not regulating.
FDA does not regulate supplements. You can say that you have a vitamin D with 1,000 international units and put it out there and it only has 100, and there's nothing really that can be done about that.
It is breaking the law. People need to know that it is breaking the law, but you'd have to test and prove it and then say something to the company, and what happens? They get a slap on the wrist and they might give you some extra supplements and tell you never to order again, whatever. We're taking calls today. If you've got supplements you're taking and you want to discuss whether your company is a quality company. If you're a person who goes to one of these big warehouses and you buy 1 billion pills for $1, of course I'm exaggerating, you're most likely not getting over on the company. They're getting over on you because the quality they have is so horrible. It's most likely dangerous and it's not benefiting you. Now, why do I say dangerous? You and I both know that if you have a food and you break the food down and you don't do it with high heat, but you do it at the temperature that does not ruin the nutrients, and you're able to process it in a way that the body still recognizes it as a whole food to some degree, and it'll absorb it, then you're going to have the highest quality supplement. Agreed?
Agreed, and that's how you avoid problems too, and possible danger in these things. There are studies out there, valid studies, that show that taking vitamin E is dangerous and increases risk of heart disease, cancer, several things. You can find the same for a lot of nutrients. The problem is when you dig into the studies, you'll see that the type of vitamin E they used is not the type of vitamin E that you encounter in nature or in a good supplement for that matter. So if you've got a multivitamin out there, something simple to look at is look at your vitamin E. Where it says vitamin E, it'll describe the actual molecule itself. And there's a lot of different types of vitamin E out there. The most common that they use in supplements is called alpha tocopherol, but it's either going to have a D in front of it or a DL. If yours says DL, then it's synthetic. I mean, it doesn't exist in nature. It's a chemical. It's a synthetic chemical that man has invented in the lab, and it kind of mimics the properties of vitamin E, but it's not really vitamin E.
And people need to know now the other side of the coin, where I just talked about more of a professional grade supplement where your body recognizes it. You have companies will take the cheapest form or leftovers, if you will, that you take the whole form that's been processed and whatever the leftovers are, the cheap stuff, even the synthetic stuff that your body doesn't know, it doesn't recognize, they'll use that in supplements, and then you'll wonder why you see one supplement that says, just for an example, multivitamin on the shelf, and it costs $50, whatever. And you'll see another one that costs $20. You're going to think, well, it's a multivitamin. They all have exactly the same stuff. I'll just take more of the one that says $20, or I'll just take this one because it's cheaper. If you don't recognize, especially from this show, or know the name of the company, or if it has good manufacturing practices stamped or certification, you're most likely doing yourself more harm than good, because we know synthetic vitamin E is dangerous for us, just like synthetic folic acid is dangerous for us.
If it says folic acid on the label, then that's synthetic right there. That's a big tip-off. They're using synthetic vitamin B9. It shouldn't say folic acid. It should say folate.
Yeah. So, and we've gone through this before on the show.
Sure.
Let's talk about GMP for a moment. Well, first, let's take this call. Davey, we'll go to this call. Let's go to Joey in Dallas. You're on the ticket, Joey. Go ahead. Hey, Joey.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Hey, guys. How are you doing this morning?
Great.
George, I've been taking some stuff from MyFit Foods here in Dallas. I don't know if I can mention that name. Anyway, but it includes like a multivitamin, cinnamon, milk thistle, fish oil. I'm taking a CLA to help lose fat, L-glutamine after I lift, and fiber. I just want to know if you've heard anything on this company, and just what your thoughts, and if there's anything else I need to add to it, because I'm also getting into heavier lifting, and I mean, I've been losing a lot of weight. So anyways, I'll hang up and I'll listen, and I appreciate the show, gentlemen.
Thank you, Joey. You know, the supplements that he mentioned he's taking all sound good, don't they?
Yeah.
But if, generally, but if you don't know, as we've discussed, the type of cinnamon, if it's organic, if it's Ceylon and so forth, you could be damaging your liver, not balancing glucose. If you don't know the type of other, or the quality rather, of the other supplements, you know, you can lose weight, but here's what I've said 1,000 times if I've said it once. If you go from no eating plan to an eating plan, even if it's an unhealthy eating plan, you're going to get results because you've got structure.
Sure.
Same thing with supplements. You're going to get some results. Are they healthy? Well, they might be healthier than before, but what is the damage you're possibly doing? I know about MyFit Foods. I've never walked in. I've never had their food. I don't know about their supplements, but if they're cheap supplements, I don't care where you get them from or what the intention of the company is, right?
Right.
It's not the intention of the company. You can have the best intention in the world, but if you're trying to get the biggest markup, big bang for your buck in business, you could be damaging some people's health. Great on the food, but what are you doing as far as the supplements? And the answer is, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either specifically, because you asked about a specific brand.
Yeah.
But just turn it around, look at the label. It will say GMP in very big lettering. It will say
GMP.
GMP, good manufacturing practices.
Right.
And there you know that exactly what the label says is exactly what's in it.
If a supplement does not reduce or change symptoms, does it mean it's not working? Let's talk about that coming up next with Dr. Jeremy Webster. It's 7:25, Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket. 7:32, Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket. George DiGianni, Train Station Fitness Show. Dr. Jeremy Webster in the studio with me. His number, if you want to call him, 972-735-0707. Daytona. Be sure to head to TexasMotorSpeedway.com to reserve your seats for the Daytona 500 Champion Luncheon at the House of Blues, February 27th. This is your chance to get up close and personal with the new Daytona 500 Champion with lunch and the option to even meet the new Daytona 500 Champion. How do you like that? So what are you waiting for? Log on to TexasMotorSpeedway.com or call 817-255-6002 to purchase your tickets.
Danica Patrick could be the new champion. She's got the pole.
Hot.
From what I understand.
Does she have tooth chippers?
I don't know.
So, if you want to talk about your supplement, are you taking something that's benefiting you? Do you know what to look for on your supplement bottle? Are you looking for fat loss or are you looking for stability, optimal health? Call us 888-787-1310, 888-787-1310. We'll discuss what you have, maybe the dangers or the benefits of what you have, if we can recognize the company. If we can't, we've already discussed some of the certifications to look for. Well, not some, but one, GMP. Is there another one?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so GMP is the best.
That's what all the big boys use that I'm aware of. All the professional grade products use GMP.
If you have a
supplement... And
supplement...
some of them don't, by the way. Some of them that tout themselves as professional grade only sell to doctors. I say, are you GMP certified? They're like, well, we're kind of working on that.
Uh-oh.
So even if they consider themselves or tout themselves as a professional grade, even some of those aren't necessarily GMP certified.
I didn't know that.
But they recognize the importance of it.
Yeah, they recognize the importance, but they're kind of squeamish about the answer, aren't they?
They haven't paid the money to do it yet.
And again, I want to know how expensive it is.
Or maybe they don't want the results.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'd love to know how expensive it is. I mean, if you've been established for a while and you're a manufacturer, you have the money to do this. Sure. Or you make it a priority to do it. You know, you take it away from the marketing budget and you do that because that adds to your marketing and say, hey, guess what? We're GMP certified.
Right.
Yeah. If you take a supplement and it doesn't reduce or change your symptoms, does it mean the supplement isn't working? Because a multivitamin is more subtle in nature and may take a much longer period of time to actually show up. And how do you know it's the multivitamin that did it and not the other surrounding supplements, if you will, or the other pills that you're taking that supplement your main supplement, if you will?
Right. And when you mentioned this subject, which I love, by the way, I thought about it the way you were coming from it, whether the product is a good product itself, whether vitamin D is good or whether it's a garbage vitamin D, or whether it even has the vitamin D that it says it has in it.
Yeah.
But then I looked at it another way. What if vitamin D isn't the product that you need? Vitamin D is one of those things where they've shown that if you're low in vitamin D, there's a very good chance that you're going to have pain and inflammation just because you're low in vitamin D. And by taking a proper amount of vitamin D and getting your levels up,
yeah,
pain and inflammation is greatly decreased. But when somebody comes to me and said, Doc, I have pain in my wherever, I have pain, is vitamin D going to help them? Well,
nobody can answer that.
I want them to recognize that vitamin D is only going to help them with pain and inflammation if they're low in vitamin D. By correcting that, we can change your vitamin D levels. You're going to be healthier for it, and it very well may change your pain and inflammation. But what if your pain is because of arthritis? Vitamin D isn't going to change that. What if it's from cancer?
Right.
Vitamin D isn't going to change it. So it's not like a supplement that is good for a lot of people for a certain symptom isn't necessarily going to be good for everyone, even if the supplement is a good quality, a GMP certified product, and in the proper dose.
Well, we also have to look at it from the variables, right? Because if you're low in vitamin D, but the pain isn't due to being low in vitamin D, it's something else, like you said, it could be cancer or whatever it is. You'll want to raise your vitamin D levels to support the optimal health you're trying to go toward.
You'll want to raise your vitamin D levels if your vitamin D levels are low to begin with.
Right.
You want to optimize your levels, and that's the key of this individuality. There's a lot of people need more vitamin D than others. Some people don't need any vitamin D, and it's the same with all of the nutrients out there.
Let's go to Mark in Dallas, Davey. Mark, hold on.
Yeah,
you're on the ticket. Go ahead, Mark.
All right, thanks. You were talking about good brands. I've got 4 brands that I get at Herb Mart here in Dallas, and they also sell them at Whole Foods. Now brand, Solar Ray, Nature's Way, and Nature's Purist. And Nature's Purist is the only one that says anything about being tested. It says HPLC tested. And the other brands don't say anything. And I always thought those are some pretty good brands. I guess not.
You know, what you'll often hear when you go to a supplement store or a grocery store, you'll ask what the best brand is. And what do people often say? They'll say, well, this is our best seller. Just because it's our best seller doesn't mean it's the best one. And you didn't say that, but that's the first thing that came to mind. You have a comment on these? He said, Now, Solar Ray, what were the other ones again?
Nature's Way and Nature's Purist.
Okay.
I know that Now has some things that are GMP certified, but unless your bottle says GMP, it may not be GMP certified for that particular product.
So here's a question then. If a company has some products that are GMP certified and others that are not, that shows to me, I may be totally wrong, but it shows to me that they're trying to do the right thing, that they're ethical, they're paying money to do it. They maybe just haven't gotten around to getting this other supplement yet. Maybe it is too expensive to do, but they're doing the right thing. Is that such a bad thing to do, to take that company's supplement?
I mean, it says that the company at least has somewhat of a reputable stance. And let me also say this. Just because a supplement, maybe you're not going to like this statement, but does it mean that a supplement is bad because it's not GMP certified?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, that's right. All that you're doing with the GMP is you're assuring or you're guaranteeing that it is a quality product.
Right.
Let me also say this. A supplement can be GMP certified and have synthetic nutrients in it.
But synthetic isn't always bad. It's got to be something your body recognizes.
But it could also be something bad.
Right.
It could be that synthetic vitamin E that increases your risk of heart disease and cancer and be GMP certified. It can be GMP certified to have exactly what the label says in it.
Right.
And still not be a healthy product or something that's going to benefit your body.
PK, in Lucas, you're on the ticket. Go ahead, PK.
Yes, I listen to y'all all the time. I have always thought that taking a multivitamin either did good or did nothing, and I just have really expensive urine or something. But then you hear reports that taking a multi could be actually bad for you. Taking calcium might be bad for you. And I take a good product. I take Dr. Webster's. I really believe in the taking a good product. but I don't want to take something if it's bad for you.
Nobody does, and the intentions are always great when we're trying to have a supplement support our fat loss benefits or optimal health, and we tend to buy the cheapest. And it doesn't mean that the most expensive ones are the best, but we know, I'm not saying that may or could, we know that the cheapest supplements are actually the most either dangerous or less advantageous, probably a more politically correct way to say that.
Right, it's a lot easier to manufacture a high dose of synthetic vitamin E than to extract it from some kind of a healthy plant source.
And I don't want people thinking, all of a sudden we've talked about vitamin D and vitamin E today, that's the only supplements we're talking about. We're talking about supplements across the board. It just happens to be that's what we.
These are easy to identify because they're the real common ones where you can identify it easily on a label.
Right.
Look at it if it says folic acid, if it says DL vitamin E.
Right.
Those are easy things to identify on every single label. If it says either of those things, you don't want this product. Period. Just throw it out. And do we have another caller we want to go to now?
Dave's getting to it now. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I was going to say, you brought up the fact that you don't want to be taking a product that's bad for you, and I think that's great. Do no harm is the first, Hippocratic oath. But also, we want to take products that are actually going to help us. And that gets back to individuality. George, we know vitamin D is going to help you because we did a genetic test saying that you need more vitamin D than the average person. Even if your levels get up into that 50 to 100, you need higher levels in your blood than the average person because of your genetic propensity to not take it in properly.
Right, absorb it.
So we need to do some testing on a lot of people. If you really want to know what you need, we need testing. I know a lot of people don't want to come to my office and pay for the office visit and all that. So I've made it easy for people to not have to do that at this point. I'm offering some testing kits that they can do in their own home. There's one called a metabolic profile, which is a good one for everybody to start with. It tells you about your detoxification capability. George is going to tell you whether they need to do your detox or not, just by doing this simple urine test in the privacy of their own home.
A lot of people don't realize they might have an inability to detox, and the body was designed to detox. And when you've treated yourself horribly for so long, it's very hard for the body to do its job. Let me say this. If you take a gummy bear or a gummy multivitamin, you're probably harming yourself.
Good point.
And if you're a parent who says, well, George, it's better to give my kids these than nothing because they won't take the other ones, they can't swallow pills. No, it's not. You're wrong. It's not a good idea. Centrum, is it GMP certified? I don't think so.
No.
I don't care how many billions of dollars they spend a year and how much they make a year. That is not a healthy supplement to take for a multivitamin. Now, I'm not just picking on Centrum. One a day, all those. They're crap as far as I'm concerned and Dr. Jeremy is concerned. Webster, because of what we just shared with you. Have they made changes to their company since I looked at them last? Maybe they have, and they might be the best multivitamin on the market. Who am I to say? Go look at it with the information that we've given you now. James in Dallas, you're on the ticket.
Hey, guys.
Hi, James.
Hey, I'm just a regular guy who works out. I don't believe all the hype with these products. And I understand for your metabolism, hey, you got to do cardio and get it going. But the hydroxycut or any of those, are any of those worth a darn? Any brand, any of those?
James, don't go anywhere because I love you. You're staying right here on the show. You don't believe in supplements, you said. Hydroxycut aside.
No, I mean, I'm not. In my lifetime, for me, I would say creatine is like one thing that I notice works. I just wonder if some of that other stuff is just psychological. But,
So now let me ask you this: Are you saying some of the other stuff that we've mentioned already? You say you wonder if it's psychological.
Not that you mentioned, but like guys in the gym will get on and be like, "Man, this works," and then you try it and you're like, But creatine is actually one thing, and when Andro was out, that was actually one thing.
Okay,
Again,
so I think I see where you're coming from, and stay with me for a moment.
Okay.
There are supplements that will work for some people because they're deficient in certain areas, and for others they're not deficient. Now, creatine can work for everyone if your goal is to gain more strength and to add more intracellular water in the muscle, right? So yes, that will work for everyone for its intended goal. What's important to recognize, and you weren't going here earlier, but I'd like to, is the reason we supplement today is because we cannot get the nutrients from the food today that we used to get over 100 years ago in our food. It's impossible. So we use something called a supplement. And the problem is that when we use supplements today, we're not getting all those nutrients if we're getting cheap supplements. Now, you're talking about hydroxycut and other things that raise your heart rate. Can you lose weight doing this? The answer is yes. Will you cause damage to your adrenal glands? The answer is yes. And the problem with that, it's like an amphetamine, taking cocaine. You get off of it, you have these rebound effects, or if you use a certain amount every day, you'll have to have more and more and more to get the result. But if you get off of these things that speed your heart to make you lose weight, once you get off of them, you start gaining weight back and you think you need them again. You're going to be in a really bad place. My suggestion is to find a workout routine, particularly burst training, that will raise your metabolism naturally, not raise your heart, and not have to waste money on a supplement that could do long-term damage. How do you like that answer?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear.
All right, James, have a great day.
Okay, thanks.
Coming up next, we'll take some more of your calls with Dr. Jeremy Webster, 746 Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket. That's right. It was good enough for a survey. 754 Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket. George DiGianni, Train Station Fitness Show. We've been taking calls today about how you know what is in your supplement is really what is claimed, what's on the label. How do you know if it's beneficial? How do you know if the company you're using is possibly damaging your health or benefiting your health? And if are they GMP certified? What should you look for on the label? We discussed all of this already. You can find me on Facebook under 21 Day Body Makeover. I'll have this video loaded today. And you can go through it again and watch Dr. Jeremy Webster talk about his stuff and me, and Dr. Webster's phone number 972-735-0707. Right now we'll go to Cy in East Dallas. Cy, you're on the ticket.
Morning, gentlemen. Got a question for you about flaxseed. Isn't flaxseed a better choice than fish oil?
It's a different fat.
Why do you say it's a better choice?
Well, because you don't have the contaminants. There was a story years ago in the Wall Street Journal about a family who had a 12-year-old son that were having him snack on albacore tuna instead of junk food. Well, he wound up getting a low-grade mercury poisoning.
Yeah, but that's Cy, when you look for omega fats, fish oil that you're going to take, first of all, it doesn't come from tuna fish. Second of all, you want to buy, this is the purpose of this show, talking about reputable companies, and I'm glad you asked that question because there are certain companies, I know Carlson's cod liver oil starts with a C, and Nordic Naturals have mercury-free omega-3. The supplement that Dr. Webster sells is also mercury-free omega-3s, and that's what you want to make sure you have. Number one, number two. Say it again.
Some articles that contradict a lot of these claims that manufacturers make. But back to my original question: what about ground flaxseed as a source for omega-3? Is that not as good as a fish oil?
It's not that it's not as good. It's different. It's not the same thing. Omega-3s are a class of nutrients. It's not one nutrient called omega-3. It's just like saying B vitamins versus B1, 2, 3, 5, 9, 12, etc. They're all different vitamins, and they have different properties in the body, and they're all necessary. Flax has an omega-3 called ALA. It's your introductory omega-3. It can be converted into EPA. EPA can be converted into DHA, but they're converted at a very, very low rate. If you take nothing but ALA from flax, it's very likely that you will get virtually zero DHA out of that. DHA is the omega-3 that's primarily in your brain. So if you're taking just flax, you're not going to get much of that good brain healthy omega-3. That's what you get from fish oil is the EPA and the DHA, the downstream omega-3s. Okay. So if you get a quality product, it will not have mercury in it.
So there's a question people have asked me, and I'm not aware of the answer. And if you know the answer, tell me. If you're not really sure, let us know. Krill oil versus the omega-3 fish oil that we all know about.
Krill oil is great also.
Someone said that you don't get the same absorption from the krill oil. And then others claim that it's better than the omega-3s that were taken from fish oil. Do you know the answer?
Yes, you get better absorption.
With krill?
Yes.
Okay.
Better absorption. It's much more expensive, and I'm not sure that it's necessarily worth the extra price, because you can take fish oil and then take some lecithin from either soy lecithin or sunflower lecithin if you're leery of the soy, and you're getting the same thing as what you're getting in krill. You're getting what's called a phospholipid, which is the outer layer of a cell. You're getting the whole matrix, which is where the omega-3s come into play. So it's just easier and simpler for the body to absorb. But if you take lecithin, you get that along with your fish oil, and you can get it for a lot less money too.
Okay.
It's a good product though.
We didn't discuss adrenal issues.
Adrenal, yeah.
You have a minute and a half.
All right, that's easy. Well, the previous caller mentioned hydroxycut. We're not going to talk specifically about that, but we're going to talk about different products. There's certain things that speed up your heart. They're stimulants, basically. They're things like caffeine. We all know caffeine can raise your heart rate. Guarana, I believe this is how you say it. Guarana. Okay. It's basically an herbal caffeine.
Guarana
It's
is bat crap.
not guado. Come on now. Guarana is an herbal caffeine. Some products have straight caffeine and guarana in it, which is just like doubling up on the caffeine. So you want to avoid these things. There's no reason to take stimulants to increase your.
But I want to
increase your
lose my
metabolism.
saddlebags, Webster. Come on.
Okay. Identify what's missing from your metabolism, what's going on in your metabolism. Do the metabolic profile that I talked about. I've got a testing tab right in the top corner of my website, CompleteHealthDallas.com, and you can identify exactly what your body needs to make your metabolism function more optimally. You don't need to take something that just is a whip to your metabolism. Otherwise, you're going to burn out your adrenal glands.
You'll also find, well, I don't want to say this, that you'll find this, but this is what's happened to me in my experience. In the past, I've tried these products many years ago, and I lost patience with people really fast. I got very frustrated. I was on edge. Mm-hmm. And if you find that this is happening, you might not correlate this with these products, ephedra and anything that's in there. So you may want to look into stopping completely and have your metabolism raise on its own naturally through exercise, through eating a certain way. There are no real big shortcuts. Any results you get too fast, you can lose just as fast. So,
George, I want to tell you, I've got a fat loss video series. It's free, CompleteHealthDallas.com. Sign up, you'll learn about exactly the way you need to eat, the nutrients you need, and the way you need to exercise to increase your ability to burn fat naturally.
Great. Dr. Webster, appreciate you being here. Let's talk to the boys. T-Box?
What is up, gentlemen?
You guys?
We got a lot of information in today. I feel happy about this
Yeah, it was
show.
good. I listened to it. My ears perked up when I heard about krill oil.
I might try krill oil.
Well, I'm into aquariums, and krill is shrimp, and they'll use that for fish food. And allegedly, it's better than it's like 4 or 5 different types of shrimp. One is totally worthless nutrition-wise, and krill is supposed to be pretty good.
So your fish
That in
have
your
no
book?
heart problems.
In my book?
It was a drop. Dave's having a funny.
Oh, is he? I can't tell when we're on the remote what's a drop or not.
Yeah.
Idiot.
But
Dave, stop. Stop. Will you just stop?
Hey, Rick.